All right, who am I here with today?
I'm Todd. This is Todd Miller.
All right, we had a great fall sports season, one of the best in Lakeland history, best at least since I've been here. You want to give us a quick little recap on our fall sports?
Yeah, Austin, this has been by far the best fall since I've been here for 9-10 years now as far as athletic director goes, and 24, 25 years in the school. I can't remember this much success, so I'm just going to kind of run through the teams and some of the success they had. Our boys tennis team brought in a new coach, so they're still developing, working out some things, but girls cross country qualified for the state finals once again. Backed up last year's first place finish in the regular season, and as conference champions did that again. They also earned academic all-state once again. So that program continues to roll along, just like the boys. The boys finished second in the LVC and runner-up at their regional, qualified for the state meet, and they also were academic all-state. So I think that was a great season. The football team finished second in the conference this year. Lost a tough playoff game, but another successful campaign for them. And our boys soccer team, let's talk about them a little bit. They went from 8th place last year to 1st place this year in the league. Huge turnaround. First time they won the league in 9 years. Made it to the district semifinal round. Just another very successful season. Lost in the LVC conference championship game of the tournament. Girls golf, can't say enough, best team in school history, as I'd seen all over social media. But I would agree with that. Finished 5th at the state finals, highest finish ever. Before, I think it was 8th, and that was at the Division II. This year was the Division I. I had the opportunity to go out there and watch that. That was a lot of fun as we held off Clarkston and Grand Blanc, some of the bigger schools, which is always fun to, schools 3 times our size trying to catch us. Abigail No finished 7th. She was amazing out there. She's a freshman out of the IA. The girls golf team also won the LVC regular season and conference tournament, which people may not know this, but that's the first time that anyone's beaten South Lyon. So that was kind of cool as well. Girls volleyball team finished going back to girls golf, they were also academic all-state as well. Girls volleyball team finished academic all-state. The United Swim and Dive team finished 2nd at the LVC conference. They're getting geared up for their state regional run. And a lot of people don't know this, but we have a mountain bike racing team that's United as well. They ended up being club state champions. So all in all, overall, the fall season was a huge success, and it was a lot of fun to get out to the events and just see all the success we were having, and not just on the field. Now that, I think football is going to be academic all-state. Swimming probably will be academic all-state as well. So when you start to see the combination of success on the field and in the classroom, we're waiting on a few of the associations. They haven't finished up voting and things like that. So it's a lot of fun to see our student athletes being so successful.
So when you see so many teams getting going in the fall and kind of branching off each other's success, do you think that correlates to each other? Like when you see the football team sees the girls golf team doing records, or the vice versa, do you think the other sports really inspire each other?
I do. I think if you're an athlete, you have competitive juices, and when you see other teams doing well, you want to kind of keep up with them. I always kind of meet with the football team earlier in the year, and I always tell them, it seems like our school year starts based on how our football season starts, and then everything else kind of falls in line. And this year, I think it was a little bit different. I think some of our other teams took that on as well, and it was like, well, we want to be that team. And so, I think the boys soccer team really took that attitude on. They were the first ones to start playing games and competing. So I think that's absolutely that. I think the teams thrive off each other. The more success we have, the more kids come out. I can remember one of the soccer games, there was probably 40, 50 students at, and the game against Milford, I think I looked at the attendance, and there was over 400 people that attended that soccer game. That's never happened before. It was an awesome atmosphere. So absolutely, I think that the success of one program leads to the success of another.
And how do you define success for athletic programs? Not just on the court, on the field, but in the classroom. What's everything that goes into success for an athletic program?
So this was one of the first questions we always ask when we interview coaches. And obviously you can say wins and losses, but it's not always wins and losses. Actually, it's not wins and losses. One of the biggest ways I like to look at it is if we play a team early in the year and then we play a same team later in the year. How did we match up comparatively speaking? That's one way. If we're talking about on the field, are we playing more kids, meaning, is practice developing kids, not because we need to play everybody, but because we're developing kids, they're getting better. From year to year, is our program getting stronger? But also in the classroom. I mean, I listed about 5 or 6 teams that were academic all-state. I'm confident a few others are still going to get that. So when you have that correlation of on-the-field success, academic success, wins and losses aren't always going to determine that, because some coaches play a really tough schedule. They'd rather take a non-league schedule and say, we'll be 500 in the non-league because we're going to get better for the district playoffs, or we're going to be better within our league because of it. So I think you have to be careful with wins and losses. You have to start to look at, how do your kids compete? How do they represent their families, their coaches, the school? And then in the classroom, are we doing the things we're supposed to be doing? And also in the hallways and off the field, are our student athletes leading in the cafeteria and in the hallways and at other sporting events? Are they behaving within the ways or the expectations, not only us as an athletic department and as a school district has, but also how their coaches and their parents would expect them to behave as well.
What leadership qualities do you believe are most important for like a student, or say it as an athletic director?
I think I want to say the word consistency, but I also think every situation has to be handled a little bit differently, because kids are all different. Everyone's situation. I don't know your situation. You don't know my situation. You don't know what's going on at home right now, what's going on in a kid's life. So, but I do think there's a level of consistency that becomes very, very important. I think not getting too high, not getting too low, being able to kind of take a deep breath, step back, and kind of see what's in the middle. And then I think just really time management, being able to take everything that you need to do in a day. And if you're going to be successful on the field, you also need to be successful in the classroom. You also have to find that time to get your workout in, things like that. If you look at the student athletes that generally move on, they're kids that have put time in the weight room. Their grades and their academics are generally pretty successful, and then they've also been successful, whether it be on the court, the field, whatever it is, in the pool. So I think there's a balance, being able to balance all of that, and then prioritizing what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. Being able to prioritize your goals and time management, putting it all together, I think is really important. From an athletic director side, I think really being supportive of both coaches and student athletes and finding that balance. Once again, every situation is a little bit different. Looking at the big picture of things, you're never going to make everybody happy. And, really good leaders and people that I have kind of looked up to and talked to about stuff say, if you make everybody happy, you're probably doing something wrong, right? So, being able to make tough decisions, knowing that, it might not be exactly what 1 or 2 people may want, but looking at the big picture of the entire program, what's best for, the student body as a whole, I think that's really important in my position.
Definitely a lot of tough decisions you have to make. Can you describe a time where there was a really tough decision you had to make about a specific coach or player?
Well, let's not go into any specifics, because that'll probably come back to get me. But
Right.
I think, on a daily basis, not a daily basis, but, we make a lot of decisions regarding discipline. We have a code of conduct and we try to follow it. But, at the same time, you want to, what I try to tell kids is I guess you are kids still. What I try to tell you is the first time you do something, it doesn't define you. It's how do we grow and bounce back and get better? Now, if it becomes over and over again, that's a little bit different, right? But we have systems in place that, really try to help kids bounce back from their first mistake. So making decisions regarding coaches, that at the end of the day, I think honesty and sitting down and having difficult conversations really works through most of that. If you put on the table to whether it be a coach or even a student athlete, kind of what the issue is or what you're up against and what's coming in, like we can call them complaints or you can call them what you want, and you start to talk through those things, generally people are kind of say either, yeah, that is happening, or hold on, let me give you this side of it. This is how it's happening. And it usually works itself out. And especially like with coaches, they generally kind of make that decision on their own and see the writing on the wall. And as long as you have facts and data to back up what's going on, and you're honest with people, then in the long run, I think that they understand.
Right. What really inspired you, if anything, to pursue a career in athletic directing, per se?
So I was the baseball coach here for 14 years. And to be quite honest, I was getting to a point where I didn't want to coach my son in high school here. And this job opened up, and I thought to myself, actually, Mr. Gamalin called me and said, hey, this job's going to be opening. I want you to put in for it. And I thought, I think we had a pretty good run my 14 years as a baseball coach. And I said, I think I can have a bigger effect on a lot of people, on more people, if I move into that position. So I don't consider myself an athletic director. I consider myself a coach of coaches, meaning, I sit down and talk to coaches, talk to a lot of our coaches. I walk them through different scenarios. I might give them tidbits here and there about how I might handle a situation a little different, how he can make the program grow. Right now, just say it, I'm working with Mr. McGowan to get our strength and conditioning program up and running again. That used to be a vital part of this program until, kind of, I hate to say it, but COVID hit. And so actually Mr. McGowan and his wife and I met yesterday to start talking about what that's going to look like this winter. And we're going to get that back up and running right after Thanksgiving. And so December 1st, we're going to get the weight room up and running Monday through Thursday, making sure that we have a knowledgeable person in there and assisting and creating lifts and things like that. So I think to answer your overall question, I saw it as a way that I could help more student athletes as a whole than just the baseball program I was working with.
Our baseball program has been one of the most consistent programs for along Lakeland's history. What do you think goes into really building consistency for a program for a specific sport, like not just having a good coach or good kids coming in? What is is it like the community play a role? Like what really goes into that?
The community definitely plays a role, but I think it's culture and expectations. And we say the word culture, but it's kind of like, what does that really mean? There are certain programs where kids know or student athletes know, if I don't put the time in, I'm not going to be a part of that program. So maybe as a freshman, I come in and I'm pretty talented and I play as a freshman, and even as a sophomore, because there's more opportunities, freshman, JV. But then I get to my junior year and I'm the same player I was my freshman year. I haven't met the expectations of the lifting. I haven't met I haven't bought into, generally we have some seniors that take underclassmen under their wings in different programs. I haven't bought into that part of it. So what am I doing, as a senior leader to develop younger kids to make them understand what our program really is all about? So I think the two things I would say is culture and expectations are what ultimately create long-term success within a program.
I completely agree. That's a great answer. And when your career as an athletic director is over, what do you really hope to take away from the job? Like, what do you hope you planted in the Lakeland future, per se?
Well, I think relationships is one of them. Obviously, I've developed a lot of really good, strong relationships. There's been some bad ones too,
Right.
but there's some really good relationships, both with colleagues, with student athletes. I really enjoy when I see random people, former students, whether it be out about town, I run into them. I'll use Blake Hyman as an example. I don't even remember Blake Hyman, but he was a kid here. He graduated, I believe, 2008 or 11. I can't remember. It was one of those years because there's three of them. But I go down to Indianapolis a lot for baseball. And he lives right by, it's called Grant Park, where my son plays a lot of baseball. every time I go down there, him and I get together either for lunch or dinner. I really enjoy that. Like, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. So those types of things. And then I think ultimately leaving it better than I found it. Meaning that we've added sports. I think some of our sports have, that may have struggled before I was the AD have developed, become better. I think we've put a lot of time into really developing, some of the facilities here. I think our facilities have improved. And then, my biggest project right now is the conference, is expanding the conference. So like today, I'm the president of the conference. Today, we have another meeting with our new teams that are coming in next year. We have 5 new schools coming next year. So we've expanded the conference from 9 to 12 teams. With the Waterford's leaving, so going down to 7, but we're bringing in 2 Farmington schools and then the 3 Livonia schools. And I think once again, just that's going to make it better for our student athletes. They get to play more teams that are like them in competitiveness, meaning multi-school districts, the enrollment's very similar. So all of that stuff, I think, goes into leaving it a better opportunity for the kids here at Lakeland. I've been here a long time, like 24, 25 years. So I want, hopefully over that time, we can at least make something a little better.
Right. So with such a successful fall sports season, what do you hope, what's like the goal for our winter sports?
Once again, winter sports is crazy. It is the busiest time of the season, and if you're bored on any given night, you can go out and you can catch a winter sport, whether it be, hockey, a basketball game, wrestling. There's swimming going on. There's so many sports going on. So I think, just kind of backing it up with, more success. Does it have to be LVC championships? No. Does it have to be district championships? No, but they're fun. I mean, it's fun to take pictures and hoist the trophy, right? But, just competing every single night, giving our kids a chance to play meaningful games all the time. You play sports, right? There's nothing worse than going out and being like, well, this game doesn't mean anything. You want to play meaningful games all the time. So every time that we are putting our kids in a situation to play meaningful games, I think it also gets them more prepared for whether it be job interviews, things like that down the road, because it's all pressure situations, that type of thing. The academic success has got to continue, more academic, all state, LVC, all LVC students, that type of thing. And just kids working really, really hard to, get better.
All right, Mr. Miller, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, not really. Just I appreciate you guys doing this podcast every week. I do actually sit in my office and listen to them when they come out. You guys do a great job. And winter sports have started. Hockey's up and playing games. Basketball tryouts start. Well, today's Wednesday. This probably won't air until after that. Girls are next week. Bowling tryouts just wrapped up yesterday. Wrestling starts Monday. Swim's not for a few weeks. They've got a little bit of a later start. But just make sure that, you check that winter startup list. Figure skating, I think, already starts right after. I got off the top of my head, I don't have them all, but there are a ton of winter sports and opportunities. Check out that list. Get involved in something. Come out and support, our student athletes. If you're not playing a sport, also check back and check out the, our weight room opportunities that are going to be starting. Thanks to Mr. McGowan. He's going to take that on and lead that charge. So just looking forward to a great winter season, and hopefully the snow and cold holds off like they say it's coming. So,
Of course. All right, Mr. Miller, thank you so much.
all right. Thanks, Austin.